the way, Method Man broke down the Jets team huddle yesterday.
No
Hard
way.
Knocks.
Is he a Jets fan?
He read a quote from Bill Parcells. Yeah, he's a Jets fan. Had the name it around his neck, the Jets hat. They had a lot of guys.
Johnny Blaze?
Jets fans are out there. Tiki Barber was out there. They're filling themselves in New York with the Jets.
What's Tiki Barber?
He's WFA again.
Oh, okay. I was thinking what?
He's WFA.
Because I consider him like New York Giant.
Yeah, he's a giant. But
fumble problems.
At their Carton left, I guess it's Tiki Barber and Evan Roberts.
Strahan came for all of the things that he wanted.
Yeah, he did. All of them. It took him. You talk about a guy who retired too early. And they talk that talk, and then they go on to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He took a shot at Eli.
That's a good point.
Boy, Tiki. Well, we can't say too much about him. He is part of the Odyssey family. As the segment is sponsored by Golden State Lumber. Serving the Bay Area for 3 generations. When you succeed, we succeed. Visit GoldenStateLumber.com. Dan Graziano coming on, ESPN, 8 o'clock. He's been taking notes with the Niners. He was at practice. We'll talk to him about practice and what's going on with the 49ers, whether or not we should panic over Nick Bosa. Also, Greg Code at 8:30.
Nice.
Greg Code at 8:30. Roasters.
What time?
8:30.
Set your alarms.
So, and I'm sure he'll comment or something about the video that was posted yesterday from our show. We had a couple videos. I thought we had a really good show yesterday. We're talking about the Niners and the quarterbacks or whatnot, and I was kind of, damn, it's been 20-plus years, and I get some teams don't have a franchise guy. Washington has been looking for a quarterback forever.
Okay, is that the standard now?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But, the Eagles, they've had franchise quarterbacks. They've got one in Jalen Hurts now, it looks like. Mm-hmm. They had one in Donovan McNabb.
I think at one point in time, they thought they had one in Carson Wentz.
Exactly. The Giants, they had Eli for a long, long time.
It's true.
They had Kerry Collins for a long, long time. They had Phil Sims for a long, long time.
Hostetler for a hot minute.
Right. Even the Dallas Cowboys, say what you want. They had Tony Romo for a long, long time.
Well, Dak's been there, 6, 7 years?
Dak's been there for a while.
Yeah.
They've had a guy. Green Bay's had guys. Minnesota.
Yeah.
Detroit feels like they may have stumbled into Jared Goff, but they had Matthew Stafford for a long, long time. The Niners have been kind of juggling quarterbacks here. And it's not the norm. I know the Raiders are looking, for quarterbacks. Yes, we did have Alex Smith for a long, long time.
Yeah, but
and it was not fun.
He was in and out of the lineup. He wasn't. Alex Smith. That was his rookie year. He only started a couple games at the end. That first full season, he played every snap.
Yep.
And then injured after that, and in and out of the lineup. And he split time with either JT O'Sullivan, Tim Rattay, Sean Hill, not Tim Rattay, Troy Smith. He really was only the starter in back-to-back years in 2011 and in 2012, and then he loses his job in 2012.
Right. So we were talking about mediocrity. We were talking about mediocrity at the quarterback spot. And look, I'm not going to say Brock Purdy's mediocre. I'm not going to do that. That's reckless. The Niners average when he took over. And if you take away the Dallas and the Eagles games, those are the last 2 games. Right? They scored 19 against Dallas. They scored the 7 against the Eagles. He wasn't even part of the 7 because he was already in the blue tent. Mm-hmm. But when he did take over for Jimmy Garoppolo, that offense went to another level. I think in a way we've kind of underrated how explosive they became with Brock Purdy under center. Now, it's not all Brock Purdy. You got Kittle. You got Ayuk. You got Christian McCaffrey, the human joystick. Mm-hmm. He's a cheat code. Deebo Samuel. And he got hurt. Remember, Deebo got hurt for a couple weeks. Yes. We forget that. He got hurt in the Tampa Bay game.
Yes.
He missed a couple weeks.
He was sluggish all year. If we're being honest with ourselves, I actually thought his best game of the year was the playoff game against Seattle.
Right. So I'm not going to say Purdy was mediocre because this offense did score 34.5 points per game in the first 7 games that Brock Purdy quarterbacked this team. Should be first 6 games.
He wasn't mediocre at all.
Right.
He was outstanding.
So I don't want to say that Brock Purdy, because some people are looking at the Reds saying, "Oh man, you're saying Brock Purdy was mediocre." No. We've seen a lot of mediocrity at the quarterback spot, and I still don't know about Brock Purdy. I was talking to Worldwide Hef yesterday, and we're just like, "Look, man, part of it is we just don't know if Brock Purdy's the guy. We're desperate to find a guy, desperate." But is Brock Purdy that guy yet? We got to see it for a full season. And he's coming off the torn UCL, and he looks like the smallest quarterback on the field. And we watch that quarterback doc, and we watch the way these guys get hit. Boy, is Brock Purdy going to make it? So part of it is we just want a guy. We want an elite guy. We want a guy. We want our Joe Burrow. We've been waiting for so long, and some people say, well, you had Steve Young. He's been retired since 1998, 99. It's been over 20-plus years. All right? And we didn't appreciate Jeff Garcia.
No.
We did that all.
And he got multiple Pro Bowls when Pro Bowls actually meant something.
Last 4,000-yard passer the 49ers have had.
And last 30-touchdown guy.
Last 30-touchdown guy.
Yeah.
Think about that.
In an era where everyone's throwing for 30.
And 4,000.
Yeah.
So, but I don't want to underrate the fact that the Niners offense did go to another level under Brock Purdy.
That's undeniable.
Brock Purdy. I mean, they scored 37 or 33 against Miami, to 37 against Washington, to 37, 38 against Arizona. They lit up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, they went to another level.
Well, let's go back into the time machine a little, though, because when Colin Kaepernick showed up to the 49ers, that offense totally went to another level. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, totally went to another level. And then by about midway through that second year, it felt like it kind of plateaued. And whether you want to say that the team deteriorated, the play calling was stale, the defense is caught up, I think it was a variety of all of those things. And it felt like they were more constipated than they were the year prior.
Right.
Toward the end of that second year. Jimmy Garoppolo, at the end of 2019, boy, it sure felt like that offense was humming, didn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, go back to the Saints game. I mean, they were slinging it all over the field. Go back to the Week 16 Saturday night game against the Rams, slinging it all over the field. Right. Remember the deep bomb down the middle to Emmanuel Sanders?
Well, I wouldn't say deep bomb. I mean, kind of looked like a shot put, but I'm not going to nitpick. It got there.
But the offense was pretty explosive.
It was.
I mean,
it was.
The Falcon game notwithstanding. But I look at it and I'm saying to myself, like, it's not about what he did last year. It's about moving forward. Can you do that, more often than not? And I think 35 points a game is probably not sustainable.
You're up there with some of the most prolific offenses of all of football.
Ever.
Think about that. He comes in. Niners had 3 points by the time Brock Purdy came in. So he helped lead them to 33. He scored 30. He was responsible for 30.
He was incredible.
Then the 35 all coming in the first half against Tampa Bay. Then you go to Seattle on the short week. You win 21-13. You get out of there.
You did what you had to do to win a division game on a short week.
Yep, exactly.
I have no problem with that. You're not going to score 40 every week.
No, you're not.
It's the NFL.
You're not. And look, Washington, they were sluggish in that first half. They had 7 points at halftime against Washington. They exploded in the second half. Score 30 in the second half. So, to me, under Brock Purdy, during the Shanahan era, that was the most explosive offensive football they've ever played under Shanahan.
No doubt. And I also think the quarterback took full advantage, and I mean this in the most positive way on Brock. One thing I'm a big believer in is take advantage of good opportunities. How many times did the defense give them the ball in certain spots, and then immediately he scores a touchdown? Like that's the hallmark of a cutthroat killer and a winner. You know what I mean? Right. Guys who, hey, you going to give me the ball at the 35? I'm going right in and I'm going to punch it in. His red zone efficiency is way better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
If we're just comparing and contrasting where I feel the most confident about Brock Purdy, in the red zone. Wouldn't you agree?
Red zone, but also outside of the red zone.
Oh, no, they can score from outside.
I'd say, the difference between Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo is this. You get the ball at an opponent's 37-yard line. Brock Purdy took shots at the end zone.
Yeah.
Where Jimmy's just dinking and dunking, and he's trying to get first downs. And then you're getting compromised. You're getting in the red zone, and you're settling for 3. Brock Purdy actually took shots at the end zone. And I want to give him credit for that. Deep ball to George Kittle in the Washington game. He had a 33, 34-yard touchdown catch and run in that game. The Seattle game with the screen pass, I get it. But Tampa Bay, you're taking shots at the end zone. The Vegas Raiders, you're taking shots at the end zone. And that's where Shanahan says, Brock Purdy's the real deal. I don't know if he's the real deal, but I understand why Shanahan would say something like that.
For sure.
Because if you're Shanahan, this offensive play caller, you're like, man, I'm this great wizard. I can draw up plays, and we got guys wide open. Boy, I threw in Brock Purdy. We had no choice but to throw in Brock Purdy, but we played Brock Purdy, and all of a sudden we averaged 34.5. 34.5 through the end of the regular season and through that Seattle game. And then, of course, you play the Dallas Cowboys with a top-tier defense. You struggle to 19. You play the Eagles. You don't do anything. Quarterback gets hurt. But I get why he said he's the real deal. To come in that Miami game, you win 33-17, and really it was closer than what the score indicates. You win Tampa Bay. You beat Tampa Bay. You're up 35-0. Right? You're rolling against Tampa Bay. Rolling. So I get why Shanahan would say that about Brock Purdy, because he saw his offense take another step after dealing with Jimmy.
For sure.
And we don't know much about Trey Lance yet. That's not fair to Trey to rip him about points per game and what the offense looked like with all the personnel being in and out of the lineup. But with Brock, I understand why Shanahan would say that, because this offense did go to another level. And I just wonder, the conversation's been about the quarterbacks and who starts and who's looked good, why is Brock rusty or whatnot. I'm kind of thinking now, can this offense go to another level if Brock's healthy, if Debo's healthy, if Kittle's? I mean, they were explosive, and I think we underrated that.
Well, of course they were explosive. That's why everyone's so optimistic heading into the playoffs last year, and then even more optimistic heading into the offseason, because you expect him to maybe take a step forward. But, what are they going to average, 40 points a game? That's video game stuff.
It is.
And I'm not trying to be a hater, but if I asked you, you are allowed to bet on one of two scenarios. They sustain the explosiveness that they're at, or they ticker down a little. They're probably going to ticker down a little. And I don't think that's a byproduct of Brock not being a good player or a good quarterback. Mahomes had a long stretch where he had to fight himself to learn how to check down.
No doubt.
Right? He's the gold standard at the position. There's no doubt about it. And so I think you're going to have ups and downs when it comes to the scoring and stuff. Is 35 points a game sustainable?
Probably not.
I don't think it is.
Probably not.
But can you be more efficient, right? Can your completion percentage tick up a little? Can you reduce? He only had a couple of interceptions, but can you
4 interceptions?
Yeah. Can you reduce that? Can you tick up the red zone efficiency? Not kick as many field goals? There's lots of different ways we can measure being a better offense that don't have points attached to them. But part of why we love Brock Purdy is because they score 6 points every time, and they don't score field goals. And that's, to me, the number one thing.
They don't settle for 3. And I think that's why Shanahan is saying he is the real deal. And so we're going to see. Can you average 34 a game? I'm kind of with you. But there were 6 in the league last year in terms of overall points per game.
Yeah.
26 points per game. What
was the number one team in the league? Out of curiosity.
It had to be, if I had to guess.
Buffalo?
I would guess Buffalo. But I would also say, I would guess Buffalo, Cincinnati, Buffalo, or Kansas City. We can look that up in a second.